Welcome to Wednesday night Satsang. We begin with prayer, closing our outer eyes, turning within, breathing into your heart, and letting go. Allowing the openness of the heart center to transform, transmute, shift all energies of busyness, all energies of stress, all energies of concern into peace, into light, into love. As we shift our awareness into the awareness of spirit, shifting from work to play to the creative energy of God that expresses in mysterious, unusual, and beautiful ways. We open to possibilities. We open to dream new dreams, to be inspired by new possibilities. We are open, we are receptive, and we are ready for the message that Spirit is expressing in and through this time of spiritual community together. So grateful for this opportunity to join together in unity, in love, in oneness. And so it is. Amen. So we continue this prayerful energy as we sing together. When I pray. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray.
When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray.
my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Now for our mantra chant, God is one, I am one with all beings. Ekankar.
I love the repetition of this. It's an opportunity just to kind of lose yourself in the simplicity and the repetition of the song. Ekankar, 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 Ekankar.
As you gently return now to a seated position, just invite you to take a deep breath into your body, relaxing and letting go of every good thing, allowing every breath to be drawn in to bring in whatever is necessary and needed, and to release what no longer is. Back and forth, the deep cleansing, the opening, the receiving, and the release. And as you breathe in connected breaths all the way in, pause, all the way out, pause, and once again in, adjust your body, turning your spine slightly, your shoulders, to untwist any constrictions, to loosen any tightness, to begin to move and allow your body to become flexible. For flexible bodies become flexible minds, and flexible minds become disciplined, feeling and emotional lives. The ability to move with the next thought and to direct a reaction to everything that arises, to observe, to see, to allow, to let go. And so with the next breath, draw in and begin to notice your body and the interior of your body, where there is constriction or blocking, a place within you perhaps that has some pain. Perhaps something is holding you back, tight and small. Something that feels like fear, perhaps. Something hot and spicy like anger and frustration. Something cold and small like anxiety. Just simply notice what it is and where it is. Breathing, watching, naming, breathing, watching now. Watch it change. Watch it. See it. Allow it to be. You don't change anything. You allow. You let go. You see. You know its name. You breathe. You flow. You sit. You see. What now? Where now? What's its name? Breathe. It's all right. It's as it should be. Breathe. Let go. Breathing, seeing, naming. Watching. Moving. Breathing. All is as it should be. Now, this moment, breathing fresh air, seeing the interior, feeling, welcoming, smiling, see the tension, feel it, see the smallness or the constriction, name it, see where it is. Know what it is. It's all right. Welcome. Breathing. Let go. Now, breathing in the peace, breathing out love, breathing in peace through your heart, breathing out love through your heart, breathing in peace, breathing out love. Breathing in hope. Breathing out perfect expression. Breathing in light. Breathing out all that no longer serves. Breathing in light. Letting go of form and tension and fear. Breathing in love. Breathing out love. Breathing in love through your heart. Breathing out love through your heart. And blessing the world. And so in this moment, returning now to your seated body, in the seated position, clear, lighter, refreshed, full, at peace, at one-ment, open, allowing, letting go, breathing, present, and now with another breath, with the out-breath, open your eyes. And be here now. Now. And so it is. Amen.
Feeling gratitude for that opportunity to return home to our essence, to our awareness of the light and love that we are, the love that we experience within us and as a spiritual community together when we connect with unity. And so I invite you now into an opportunity to give into this ministry, to remember that as we receive, we give. That is spiritual law. We recognize that we're giving in to the expansion and availability of these teachings in our community and in the world for us and for many, many beyond us. So thank you in advance for your gifts this evening through our text to give or through our website. Let's join together now in our offering blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. And so it is.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to this present moment here, to a new beginning here, and I'm seeking life so clearly now.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to this present moment here, to a new beginning here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Thank you, Jean Marie and David. That was the perfect setup, really, for what we're talking about this evening. Spiritual surprises. Really, it has to do with this messy spiritual work that we're about, the spiritual practice that we're doing. And there are benefits and there are surprises along the way. We call it transformative. We call this transforming healing work. And I had a dream this week. It was like the last dream before you wake up. right? It's that one the one that you can remember usually. And I was dreaming that I was in probably a church doing some church work or something. I don't know, there were other people around. And I used the word transformation. I said something about transformation. And somebody said, oh, isn't that word a little dated? Like, I shouldn't be using that word. I should be upgrading. I'm like, well, what does TikTok say? I mean, like what? Should I be looking somewhere else? I mean, I thought transformation, I mean, it's Latin. I mean, that's like basic. And so I was like, change, or, I was really trying to, get hip. I was trying to update. And then I woke up and I was still thinking about that. And I was like, man, is that true? Because we have been talking about transformation for my whole ministerial career, which is now 25 years. So yeah, it's dated for sure, but we're still doing it. And then I saw that Reverend Michael's talking about the path of transformation, so I'm like vindicated because he doesn't do anything that's old. So, transformation is the deal, and it's never old, right? Because that's the whole point, is it's always changing. It's updating itself. Our software, our internal spiritual software is updating itself. But it does that with the work that we do. Jack Kornfield in A Path with Heart says, the dazzling effects of lights and visions, the powerful releases of rapture and energy are a wonderful sign of the breakdown of the old structure of our being, body and mind. However, they do not in themselves produce wisdom. What he's talking about is the effects of what spiritual practice will begin to give you. That vision, that insight, that sometimes the light. I've heard so many people go into meditation, they see a purple light, or they always see a turquoise light, or they see a white pearl, or a golden light, or they see, a rainbow, or they see images, they hear music. They feel tingles or chills. They feel movement. They just can't sit still. They just feel their body just being like something else has control over them in a way. There's all kinds of movement and feeling. Sometimes it's music that plays in the inner ear. Someplace deep inside of them, they hear music. Some people call it celestial music. Some people, hear tones or voices or get messages. They get a voice that will speak from the inside, or they hear it externally. They go about their lives and suddenly they're so aware of smell and taste. Things taste amazing. Just what I don't need, right? Just more things to shove in my mouth. But the whole idea is that there's something that is changing, alive, awakened. Something is changing in us. Because why? Because spiritual practice is about transformation. It's about transforming us. And naturally, our bodies are receptive to these changes and neurologically connected to our spiritual, emotional, feeling life, to the thoughts that are radiating through us, and to the breakdown of the old patterns and the old belief systems that we no longer hold. That's what transformation really is. It's turning us into the cocoon that's full of mushmash, and changing it into new structures, new ways of navigating, new ways of thinking and feeling and being in the world. That's wholesale transformation. And that only happens as process. It only happens over time. It only happens with practice. So what we're talking about tonight is the spiritual experience that arises from spiritual practice. Like what's real? What's not real? What does it mean that I experience something? What does it mean if I don't? And what does it mean when I did but I don't? What does it mean that I didn't and now I do? Those are just the effects. They don't really have more meaning than the idea that you are making change, They are affirmation of change. Jack Kornfield says, altered states arise naturally when we have a habitual spiritual practice like yoga or meditation or a fasting practice of chant, reading spiritual texts, martial arts, all kinds of different practices, journaling, ways in which you are changing your thoughts, learning and growing in new ways. They're signs that we're moving energy within ourselves. Moving energy meets blocks within our bodies and causes us to want to move, to make noises, to dance, to laugh or cry, get chills, see visions, see colors, hear music, hear voices, feel ecstasy, feel rapture, feel one with all that is. We want these states to stay. They're different. They came out of nowhere, it seems. Surely they mean something. They should be changing me. I should be getting wiser. I should be getting more spiritual, right? I should be getting much more, like ethereal, right? Well, you are, but it's not because of those things. It is these experiences. You can welcome them. Some of them might frighten you if you're not sure about what it means or where it's coming from, perhaps. But if you enjoy it and it feels comforting or it feels exciting or it feels good to you, you may want to keep doing it and think that your practice, the more you practice, the more you're going to feel this. Maybe this is even nirvana. Maybe this is the enlightenment. Maybe this is what I've been working toward all this time. But it isn't going to come with bells and whistles. It will come with a gentle, silent peacefulness, an awareness, a wakefulness. And so these are the energies that you're feeling that are being recognized in your body, that you're recognizing as shifting and changes and things that are coming through you. But it has to do with the changing vibration and dynamics of your changing consciousness. And welcoming them is useful because welcoming everything you experience is the practice itself. And these should be no different. But don't assign any particular special meaning to them. They simply are. And you simply watch them, and you simply observe that experience. This energy movement is often referred to as Kundalini. It is a yogi term for energy. Chi or Chi with a QI or CHI, you've probably seen it written that way. It's also a term for this spiritual energy. It's an energy that comes through the universe. It is universal energy of life itself. It is a life force through our bodies that really it works in alignment with our spiritual purpose, with our souls, but also energizes our physical being and brings health and wholeness. And when energy tries to move and hits blocks from old thinking and old constrictions and old buried fears or traumas or things in our lives, part of the healing, part of the transformation is to be revealing these, to break them down, to soften, to allow the energy to pass through and channel through, to help heal, to release, to bring things to the surface, to let us deal with them. They don't magically make them disappear. They bring them up to our awareness. Only what gets filtered through our awareness can be healed. We can't heal anything we can't see, anything we refuse to name or know. Anything that we are trying to hide from or stuff away or find uncomfortable or unworthy, that will always have to be brought back and accepted and seen and loved and healed. And in the light of that, transformation happens. In Western culture, we have not historically been good at supporting spiritual experiences of altered states that we get in spiritual practice. We've often made them weird or special. Somebody's special. A person is special. They have this experience. They're a very spiritual person, not ordinary, not accessible, like anybody can have that experience. Or we think worse. We think they're crazy. They're losing their mind. They're hearing voices, something's wrong with them. Or it's idealized as a desirable state to achieve, and now I have to live there. And if I don't live there, I've fallen out of my practice. My practice is not good if I'm not always in some realized state of nirvana. Every spiritual path has benefits and pitfalls and that teach us what the Buddha calls the middle way. Because there are extremes. There are the beautiful spiritual experiences, but there are also the very challenging, difficult ones. Because after we've had enlightenment or a beautiful experience, what? Boom, the dark night of the soul. Stuff gets dredged up, and now it's in our lives, and now it's just one awful, experience of the past coming up, of memories, of ways I thought I had handled this. I went to therapy for that. I don't know why this is showing up again, It's showing up again because there's just simply more of it. Not because you didn't do a job there. You did it there for the consciousness you were operating at. Now you're operating at a consciousness that is higher and wants more. It has to get through this level of block. It has to see this for what it is and take ownership and dissolve it away. The work is ever unfolding, ever opening. Every spiritual path has its benefits and pitfalls, so we look at how it is that we can do the middle way. The key is always detachment from either ecstasy or from pain and fear. Detachment meaning we have it, we allow it, we see it. We experience it, but we don't identify with it. We don't let it become us. We don't let it mean more than it means, more than it is. It's simply an experience. It simply is. And what has come always passes. It has an opening, a beginning, and an end. This is the nature of experience. The myth is that the transcendent experiences, those ecstasies, those highs, those chills, those visions, those colors, the dancing, the music, the ecstatic feeling, the rapture, whatever, however it shows up, that somehow those experiences are the transformation, that they will transform us. So we're driven to have as many of those as possible, and we try to repeat it over and over. But it's just another form of hunger and attachment to controlling our experiences rather than the practice of letting go and letting life happen and observing it. That's the practice. We always have to return to the practice. Even in this experience, acceptance and awareness yields wisdom, not lights and visions, not levitation. And let me know when you do that, because I want to be there. I want to see it. You can tell that doesn't happen to me. I don't even get the lights. I'm just chopped liver. I just get, I might get a nice, smooth, wonderful, peaceful feeling. But I get wisdom in some other ways. And the thing of it is that however you're calibrated, whatever it is you're needing, your path is so different than anyone else's, as is mine, as is yours, as each of us. We have our own journeys because we have our own histories. We have our own purpose. We have our own futures. We have our own ways of being. And that's the glory, that's the beauty of every human flower opening and letting each petal happen as it does. And your ability to accept and to let go and to love the process and to trust it, that becomes the stability that leads you to the transformative life. the life that continues to evolve, continues to transform. So, if these experiences are not the thing, but you are still struggling with them, if you're having some fear about some things, maybe some of them are very difficult, challenging for you. There can be some fears or some old anxieties or some old memories. Lots of things can arise that get opened up because you are now at a level in your life of being surrounded and supported that you're capable of dealing with them. You may not be ready, but you are capable of dealing with them. Your psyche allows them to now bubble up to your conscious mind. This is the time to get help, to get perhaps a therapist or some other spiritual teacher that can work with you and help you, parse through the spiritual phenomenon that you're experiencing, something that they have experienced themselves. It needs to be someone who doesn't just talk a good game, but someone who's actually been there themselves. Because it's only when we have been there that we can turn around and walk somebody through the darkness back to the light and back to their true nature. So all of these different kinds of experiences, the rapture, the chills. I was raised Catholic, and when I was 12, I went through confirmation practice, and I was not told anything about any spiritual experiences. And so I attended Mass really regularly, but I had already been in training and teaching and preparation for this confirmation. This is, it's a coming of age in a way ceremony in the Catholic Church, and it's the bishop that comes and anoints you with your forehead with oil, and it's a huge ceremony. It is a very big deal. It has to do with you being able to answer certain catechism questions properly, and so you're studying up and trying. If the bishop asks you a question, don't embarrass your teachers by not knowing. And oh boy, it was super big deal. But I also knew that the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit were going to be given to me because that's what I was taught. That's what I believed, and I believed everything that I was taught in the Catholic Church. I was super Catholic. I was a super Catholic. But I was really ready for this. And so when I received the anointing and the words were spoken to me in whatever response I gave, I returned to my seat and I knelt down, and I felt like a warm light on the top of my head, and it came down and it went down my spine, all the way down my spine. And it's like in my mind's eye, my whole spine lit up. I could see it all lit up inside. And I just stayed very still and observed it and noticed it. And it stayed with me for a while, it stayed with me for a few days. I felt like this had worked, I'd been injected with 7 holy gifts, and I was a true believer for a lot longer because of that. But I didn't tell anybody because I thought it would be sort of like bragging that I had gotten something or something. I didn't know. I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know what to say, and above all, I didn't want anybody to tell me that I didn't experience that, because that was entirely possible. I'd already been told that I didn't have a calling as a priest because I was female. So I didn't want any more disappointments. So I just let that be my secret. And you know what? I don't think I've ever told anybody else except you guys. Right here. Yeah, I'm coming out. I got anointed by the Holy Spirit. I got the 7 gifts. That's right. But you see, that's my journey. That's the special thing, and that whole experience, now I know what that is. I mean, that is a common experience of the light coming through through the seventh chakra, coming down from that experience, from the highest vibration down into the lower chakras. I was actually anointed in a powerful way. And I handled it the best way I knew how. But you see, when energy moves in our bodies, if we don't know to be expecting it, we don't really know how to deal with it. And as I said, we don't have a lot of models for that, unless we've practiced Eastern traditions, because they're all through in Buddhism, in yoga, in Hinduism, in mystical Judaism even, and in Christian mysticism as well. If we read the Christian texts of the saints, they also experienced it. And I did read the stories of the saints, and especially the female saints who would stay in meditation for 10 hours, 12 hours. They would be motionless in prayer at the foot of the crucifix, at the foot of at the altar, and they would stay there until they fainted or until they levitated at times, whatever. But they would be in rapture, their faces shining light, and they would just be motionless. And then they would try to go to sleep and would have a hard time coming out of that higher vibration. But in the darkness, they believed the devil had entered their room and was throwing them all around the room against the wall and twisting their arm and twisting their leg. And of course, as a child reading that, I was terrified because I didn't really want to think the devil could just like come in through walls at night, especially to the most spiritual people. That was really terrifying to me because I aspired to be a good spiritual person. But what I know now is that is often the effects of the Kundalini energy that reaches against, because we're not prepared, because we don't know how to just let it be there and to allow it to move through us, to notice it and to be with it, because that's what you do with it. You just notice it. You don't react to it. You don't, because if she felt like something was holding her, she would be trying to break away from it. She was trying to get, something's got a hold of her. It's dark and she can't tell. How terrifying. When instead it could have just been releasing the energy to do the healing that it was there to do, to start moving through the body. We see colored lights. We have heat and chills, places in our bodies. Seeing the colored lights, altered perceptions of our physical self. We can get really large in meditation or very small. We can get distorted. We can imagine that we are seeing through the eyes of a fox and running through a forest. That can happen. All kinds of different kinds of experiences can happen. The sounds, soft sounds, music, choirs, the sensations and the taste and the smell and the visions, emotions, sorrow, joy, despair, delight, ecstasy, they can come. They're not really driven by the conditions or circumstances. You're not losing your mind, but it feels like you are. They can be powerful and confusing. By relaxing and releasing judgment or a need to assign a meaning to them, is to just observe and be alert. Keep breathing deeply in and all the way out, allowing energies to move and visions to be, whatever they are. They will pass. The opening of chakra energy releases a lot of these experiences as well and opens to these various treatments from mind all the way down. The key is to honor your own process. Not to dismiss your experiences, but don't attach or identify with them or try to duplicate them or try to make them happen. You're not more spiritual because you have one today, and you're not less spiritual because you don't have one yet. It's because you're practicing. It's because of who you are. You've always been there. So the three principles in working with spiritual experiences is first of all that all experiences are side effects. All are a wonderful sign of the breakdown of the old and small structures of our being, body, and mind. However, they do not in themselves produce wisdom. Some people had many of these experiences but learned very little. This is from Jack Kornfield. Even great openings of the heart, kundalini processes, and visions can turn into spiritual pride or become old memories. They're wonderful when they happen. They simply mean you're on the right track. Jack Kornfield gave an example. He says, one meditation student who practiced in India managed to come to a remarkable opening in his body after several long years of difficult and intensive practice. Each time he would say his body would dissolve into tingles of rapture and light. His mind would be open and profoundly peaceful. He was delighted. But then an emergency in his family called him back to England for several months. He couldn't wait to return to India, and when he did get back, he found his body and mind were tight and blocked, filled with contraction, pain, and loss. So he undertook a series of intensive retreats to try to get back to the body of light and rapture, but it just wouldn't happen. Weeks and months went by, and his frustration grew along with his regret. If only he hadn't gone home from India, he said. Now he tried even harder to clear himself. This struggle lasted for 2 years. Then one day, it dawned on him that his 2-year struggle with blocks, frustration, and difficulty was actually the result of the desire to repeat his past experience. His attachment to the old state and his resistance to what was present kept it all locked in. And as he accepted his tension and pain, then a spacious equanimity arose all around it, and his meditation began to flow into new territory again. The idea here is that you're on a journey, and you don't want to keep going back and try to grab something from there. You're on a journey, and if it's not there, you're done with that, you're into something new. Keep looking, keep observing, keep naming. If you do experience something that's really, really scary, really difficult, there can be intense, powerful awakenings that are troubling and alarming and disorienting. There can be even the risk of one's sanity, so psychotic breaks. That can happen. This is referred to as spiritual emergency. There's a book by Christine Groff about spiritual emergency. You can find that online. It's a very good reference, and at the back there are people around the country, a network that has been formed for spiritual emergency, people who are trained to help work through that and distinguish between psychological mental health need versus a spiritual emergency that can be handled and treated in different ways. So you can, when you feel that things are going faster and deeper and more powerfully than you're ready, stop meditating or stop your spiritual practice that you've been doing. And other intense forms of spiritual practice. Ground your body by eating meat and grains again, being in nature, physically releasing energy that builds up, and in grounding yourself. Gardening is a great way to go. Hiking, physical activity, and then follow that with healing body work and massage, herbs, warm baths. Actually, that sounds like a good idea anyway, doesn't it? It's especially important to find a guide. Once again, someone who has touched their own madness, perhaps, grief and loss of boundaries, who can gradually and fearlessly direct you back to the ground of your own true nature. So the first one is accept it as just, the first thing is to accept it just as effect and recognize that's what it is. Second thing is, if it's overwhelming, apply a break, stop for a bit and take a break until you're grounded again. And the third is to be aware of the dance itself. Allow yourself to name it, to watch it. Just like we did with naming the demons, now you name the experience. Rapture, rapture, chills, chills. Music, music, color, lights. Breathing, breathing, right? You just watch yourself. You just be with it. It doesn't mean anything more. It doesn't mean anything less. Your process is your life. Cornfield says, a path with heart brings us to experience the phenomenal world in all of its infinite richness. To see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and think. And to find freedom and greatness of heart in the center of it all. Remember how you got here, by letting go and breathing and being aware. It's always been the point of the practice, is the practice. Namaste. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Karen, for taking us into the richness of different spiritual experiences that we can have and sharing with us for the first time your confirmation experience. I had an experience in my confirmation, not quite like what you have, but I'm curious because it was a profound moment. Do you feel that it was your faith and anticipation that maybe opened you up to that in preparation, or the anointing of the bishop, or maybe just a combination of all of that?
Yeah, well, naturally I had my own doubts even at 12, like, oh, I made it up, oh, I imagined it, whatever. But after I studied, in which I didn't really encounter this until I was in ministerial school, that I encountered the other Eastern traditions, the Kundalini experience, that the light over my head, of course, we have that image in Catholicism, but that it was on the top of my head, that it came down my spine, that I felt it all light up, that I felt the chills, and I felt like rigid, like I couldn't move, like something was happening. And yes, I was attuned, I was ready for it, but I couldn't have made that up. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what I would have thought. I think I would have thought if I was going to make it up, it would come through my heart, that it would come in, dead center. It wouldn't have occurred to me necessarily to go down my spine, that it might come in my forehead, because that's the operational place. We get ashes, we get anointed, they anoint babies, all of that's just right here. It's a third eye, right? But not down the back. And so I saw that as a combination. You named all three. I think all three were operational, yeah.
Well, Priestess Karen, it's beautiful to see your coming out, as it were. I was inspired by so much of what you said, and the big theme I heard is non-attachment to the epiphanies. You didn't actually use that word, but I heard it. I think I'm perhaps projecting onto Kundalini, it showing up like an epiphany, because I've had a few of those in my life too. And I was just pondering the way we experience those epiphanies. You lingered a bit on the ones that come through spiritual practice, where you have very specific intentions, and you study, and you pray, and you invest, you put yourself in it. And certainly there are rewards that come from that kind of an epiphany, that kind of Kundalini. Mm-hmm. But I also think there are those that completely surprise us. Mm-hmm. And I was noticing thoughts about hitting bottom, that there is an epiphany there too. And I've heard people choosing their bottom in a way, and I think that there are all kinds of ways of finding ourselves, whether it's recovery or however it is in our spiritual path. And then some people want to use a they go into treatment, that's sort of like a line in the sand, and they choose when they go and how they go, and that's the beginning of their new journey. But a lot of people, including myself, it's like there's no choosing the bottom. It's just like, here we are.
That's right.
And that's the place to start. And that is a spiritual surprise. And you build from that. That becomes the most important thing in your life. And it's very liberating when you finally surrender to that. It's like, okay, this is my spiritual growth point. And I'm going to fully commit to that and grow in that. I have a little bit more I want to share about the living the middle way, but I want to just kind of put that out there for a moment. And if either of you have anything you want to say about that, the two versions of Epiphany, those that come from our spiritual practice and those that come from, hitting bottom.
Right.
My practice, I aspire to have beginner's mind. I think that's really what I was hearing in the essence of what you were saying, Karen, about having all those experiences and just really being present and noticing them and knowing that they will pass. However high or low. In my spiritual direction training, they said we needed to have a therapist and a spiritual director, because when we have the dark night of the soul experience, it can often be misdiagnosed as depression and medicated. And it's not that.
That's right.
It's you're having a spiritual experience. So to have a support to discern that is really essential.
Yes, it is really important. So I love it that you named spiritual direction, because I was struggling to try to direct people who might be hearing this that would recognize some part of that in there, or be afraid that could come up or whatever. Or have a history of some depression and not being able to tell the difference, right? Because it is important to be able to have somebody. So spiritual directors are, really available and out there you can probably Google spiritual direction. Do you have a network or a website or anything like that?
Spiritual Directors International.
Bingo. There you go. And so they should be, they will very likely have the skills and the tools to be able to help distinguish a spiritual experience and spiritual effect, rather than necessarily referring you directly to a psychiatrist right away, but being able to discern the difference between those two, and or a minister that has also had different backgrounds. But it's tricky. It's just so tricky. You would really need somebody who's been some places,
Yes.
who's done some things, right?
Yes. Not just read or learned about them, but been there.
Can I go back to what you said a little bit ago about the bottom? You're right. There are some people who know. Here's the only caveat I would say with that is if they elect to decide where their bottom is, they haven't really gotten to the helpless state. And sometimes it doesn't work. Yes. Sometimes it's premature. And sometimes it's rather go with the devil I know rather than the devil I don't know. And so it's like you can actually short circuit your own recovery by preempting and not wanting to suffer anymore. But really that's what bottom is. Right. And I'm in no way here judging anybody's process, because everybody's process has to be. But I have seen bottom where you are completely out of cards up your sleeve. That's really what it is. You don't have another trick. You don't have a clue. Right. You are so lost, and so death is the only thing in front of you, really. It's like that kind of bottom. And whatever that looks, and wherever it is in your thing, that has the greatest chance for real transformation, for real healing. But some people have to go through them several times, and that's just the story. That's just their journey, and neither right or wrong. Didn't do it wrong, just that's what it took. Took what it took.
Yeah, it's ultimately about surrender. and
Right.
you surrender when it's your time, when it's the right time. I have one thing I want to share, my last word about this, because I was inspired by what you're saying about living the middle way and non-attachment, having those peak experiences and going through the valleys and being fully present to all of them and not dismiss them and not inflate them in their importance, but accept their ephemeral nature without skirting past them. It's a whole gestalt in there, like, whoa, how do you do all that? And I was reminded of a quote by Rilke that really inspires me. He was talking it was in his letters to a young poet. And he says, I want to beg you, as much as I can, dear sir, to be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to live the questions themselves like locked rooms, like books that are written in a very foreign tongue. Do not seek the answers, which cannot be given you because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer.
I think that's the point. I think that is it. I think it is. And the other piece around not believing the experiences, what I will say, because you named epiphanies, I think of epiphanies as being different.
Oh.
Epiphany is insight.
Yes.
It is the injection of wisdom. It is wisdom that comes. It isn't what he means by these experiences. They are not in and of themselves just planting wisdom inside of you for later harvest. They're not. They're just, it's movement of energy. The epiphany can only happen in the conscious mind. So the epiphany is the real wisdom. And it is the gaining. And so whatever it is that you receive, write it down and keep it and review it and let it come back to you. Feed it back to yourself, because you will forget. I don't care how sure you are, you'll never forget this piece of this little jewel. You will tomorrow or the next day. You will not be able to recall it. Write it down and give it back to yourself until you integrate it, because that's the usefulness of the wisdom. And especially since you can't keep it, that's how you know it's really new and it didn't come from you. It came from on high. So that's the thing about epiphany. I definitely wanted to get that in there, because I made it sound like none of it's any good. But yes, epiphanies come into your conscious mind, and that's the jewel. Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you both. Let's breathe and take all that in. It's all the blessings that come through in our spiritual practice. In the highs and the lows, there are blessings. And so we allow ourselves to tune in to what is calling within us for prayer, whether it's in our own lives or in the lives of others. What is speaking now to you? For healing, for change, for transformation. Now's the time where we speak the names, the conditions or places that we would like to send a blessing, to send a word of peace and of love. Let's speak those names now. our spiritual family. Yes, we are one with all that we have named. We bless them. We see them as the light of God that they are. We behold them in their highest good, whole, well, healthy, at peace. We trust in the movement of Spirit in their lives, revealing truth to them in right and perfect ways. And as we release these prayers, we feel deep gratitude in our hearts that the healing has already begun. And so it is. Amen. We invite you to join us this Sunday for our fabulous and amazing Sunday services at 11 a.m. Reverend Michael Gott is going to be sharing his message to walk the path of transformation. And Tony Glover is going to be singing. It's going to be a wonderful service. And we're inviting you to be on campus with us and join us in the sanctuary. You will need to RSVP in advance. You can do that tonight on our website. Go ahead and do that after the service. We'll have safety protocols in place, and it's wonderful to be together in person. And of course, we will continue live streaming as well. We will also be live streaming our Spanish language service. And the message this Sunday is Un lugar en la casa de mi padre with Claudia Olmos. And that is at 9:45 a.m. on our Unity in Espanol Facebook page. This Sunday, we are also accepting pet food donations for our animal kinship ministry from 12:30 to 2 in our sanctuary drive-thru. So please bring dry pet food and donated pet supplies to help those in need who would normally be giving their own food to their pet. This allows them to have pet food so that they can have the right and perfect supply of all their needs met. Thank you in advance for remembering that. And next Wednesday, we are also open for you to join us in person here in the Pyramid. I will be speaking on dark nights and starlight. So I hope you will come as we, whether in person or live stream, as we continue our series on A Path with Heart. You just want to know where this is going, right? Now that you've had these Kundalini experiences, what is next? I'm excited too. So let's join together again next Wednesday. We have it's Holy Week at Unity of Houston, and so Good Friday we have 2 services. Next Friday, April 1st, we have a noon service with our licensed Unity teachers and ministerial students, and an evening service in the sanctuary with our Unity ministers. You can RSVP to join us in person on our website, and both services will be live streamed. And of course, one of the highlights of the year is Easter at Unity. We hope that you will join us. We're going to have an outside service in the courtyard. It will be fabulous. Bring your own chair or blanket and RSVP on our website for this. There's a rain plan. If it does rain, we'll have it in the sanctuary, or watch us live, and our youth ministry will also be open, so you can bring your kids and they can have their Easter experience, and it will be wonderful for us all to be together on campus. And so now we will close with our metta practice.
Our metta practice, you can speak them with us. By the power of this practice, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they know the sacred joy that arises in the space beyond suffering. May they rest in equanimity that knows no grasping or hatred. May they experience the equality of all beings. May my practice be of benefit to all. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste, I bow to you. Namaste, 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 go shine your light into the world. Namaste, namaste, go shine your light, sees the light in you. Namaste, namaste, go shine your light into the world. Namaste, namaste, namaste.